So this is the first episode of series on Laravel API development with Passport. So first of all, you need to install any Laravel version into your local device, and that is from any from this version of Laravel. Current version that I'm available with is 6.6. Uh, if any of this version doesn't work on your device, then that is due to this PHP version on your local machine. So if Laravel 6 or any Laravel new version doesn't work on your device, then first of all update your PHP version on the device or PC. So let me begin API. So there is a many way of developing API, and in Laravel we use Laravel Passport for that. So first of all, make your Laravel application, give any name that you like, then install Laravel Passport package, and by using this command, that is composer require Laravel Passport, then run migration file, then it will create couple of tables like auth access token, auth code, client, password reset, users is migration, and student is table that I created. And then what you need to do is, after migrate, you need to create a PHP artisan password install the generated key, and what it does is you will create a key, this key. This is important part. Now I will talk about it in later videos. So just this is the introduction video. So after that, you need to configure password, and for that, go to your user module, and that is inside app, and then here. So you need to use this class. So use this as API token. Then what it does is it will import this has API token, and what it does is it will allow you to use the functionality of passport. So after that, so go to your auth service provider and add this passport route inside boot function. So for that, let's go to my auth controller. Then as you can see, I have auth service controller, auth service. Wait a minute. Sorry. Where's the auth service provider? Service provider. Then as you can see, I have used this password route. So don't just use this. You need to import it. You need to also import it. So import that on your header. So after that, go to your config and config and author.php, and on API part, change the driver to passport. And what it does is it will allow you to use a passport token based authentication system on your Laravel application. So after that, make some route. So for that, the things you need to remember is the basic, the CMS kind of route is you put it inside web.php, and this is basic conventions, and all the API related route are put on api.php. So there is no any difference between normal route and API route, but the one difference is one is put in the web.php, and API related route are put in api.php. So and also, so I'm using, as you can see, this is a route I'm defining, and there is a 3 route, because student, login, sign up, and one is get type, post type, and another also to post type, and I'm using a prefix called p1. So this so we have completed made a route, and also we're calling a student controller. So let me show that to student controller. So in student controller index, what I'm doing is I'm getting all the data from student model and returning it as a JSON value. With the status code data, you don't need that. So this is a basic convention that you need to pass message and status code. There is a two status code right now, so I don't need that. And also data with. So when building an API, I should follow convention and structure your maintain the similarity and equality in all of your responses, because if you don't do that, your API you are building to any Android developer or anything, you will be having a hard time parsing it. So what I'm doing this is I'm just making this and I'm returning a response. So you have created route and you're also returning. So yeah, and there's also, if this was a basic basic user route of a CMS, then what you do is instead of returning this response, what you do is you return it to the view. But in API we don't have view, and in API the view is basically Android or iOS device. So we just return in JSON response, and Android or iOS or any front end React or Vue app will fetch this data and use that data into their view. So that is what basically API is for. So we have created API, but how to use it? So let me show that too. So for testing API, I'm using Postman. So on Postman, I'm solving it into 8000. That is, if we don't know how to solve, use use PHP artisan solve. And what it does is it will run your application on 8000 port. If you want to change 8000 port to any other port, you can also change PHP artisan serve and then dash port, and you can define any number of any port you desire. So things to remember is when using a route from API, you need to use API prefix on your route URL. So this is API means we are using the route from api.php file, and this p1 is basically the prefix I'm using inside api.php, and that is this prefix. So and we're using API p1 student route. What it does is API student, it is going to the student controller and index function. Let me go to the student controller. Is fetching all the data from student model and returning it as a JSON response with a status code of 201. So let me run that. So as you can see, it's creating a route. It's giving a message of success message, creating a user with a status code of 201. And data, I have two data called Iron Man and Hulk, and this is from my database. Let me show my database to you. This is a students table. So this is the two data I have in my database. So this is a message. You can change it to anything. And things to remember is there is a various status code for JSON response, that is if 404, 409, 500 or anything. You need to research that according to the response you are getting, because you cannot change the just put a random number as a status code. So that is also one of thing you need to remember. So you have, I'm getting this response from, this is a basic route how to create API. So you can also use this URL on your browser too. And so for that, go to your browser and use, yeah. So this is the same response I'm getting as in a Postman. So there is not much of a difference between using a URL, but when it comes to post method or pass method, you need to have Postman. And there is also another way of testing API, that is what I use is Swagger. So I'm gonna teach you about that also to later on video. So this is for this video.